Hey guys, Weston25 here, watching the launch of GPS-IIF 28 seconds until coverage begins, so pause recording until then. Okay, 2, 1, 0. Next launch time is hereby grants news agencies permission to use the following. Well, I'm not reselling it, technically speaking, so. Technically speaking, I'm fine. So I'll pause recording until the actual coverage begins.
From Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida, United Launch Alliance presents live Atlas V launch coverage. At Space Launch Complex 41, an Atlas V rocket is fueled and ready to launch GPS-IIF, the 11th next-generation Global Positioning System satellite for the United States Air Force.
You can see the crew tower there.
Ready to go for launch. Roger, go for launch.
T-minus 3, 2, 1.
Atlas engine ignition.
Liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket.
Hello, and welcome to Mission Control at the Atlas Spaceflight Operations Center. I'm Mike Underhill. Thanks for joining us today. We are currently on track for 12:13 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time liftoff. The launch count is currently holding at T-minus 4 minutes, and the team is not working any issues at this time.
Oh, that's a good
This
set.
planned 30-minute hold allows the launch team time to conduct final systems checks and resolve outstanding issues prior to entering the terminal count. We have a 19-minute launch window available today, which closes at 12:32 p.m. Eastern Time. GPS-IIF delivery on orbit is scheduled to take place approximately 3 hours and 23 minutes after liftoff. Because of that long duration, we'll conclude our live coverage approximately 20 minutes after liftoff. However, before we sign off, Captain Felix Abeda from the Air Force's Launch Systems Enterprise Directorate will join me here in Florida to discuss the Air Force's role in getting critical space assets to orbit.
So it's complete sound now.
As I mentioned, Atlas V is launching the 11th satellite in the Air Force's 12-satellite GPS-IIF constellation. This is the third GPS launch this year and the 59th operational GPS satellite, all of which have been launched on ULA's Atlas and Delta rockets. The Global Positioning System, or GPS, is a space-based positioning system consisting of a minimum of a 24-satellite constellation providing navigation and timing information to military and civilian users around the world. The signals are so accurate that time can be measured to within a millionth of a second, velocity within a fraction of a mile per hour, and location to within a meter. GPS is a critical enabler for the United States military to provide national security and a worldwide service for billions of civilian users. Built by Boeing, the next generation 2F series provides improved capabilities for military and civil users and a new third civil signal, L5, for commercial, aviation, and safety of life applications.
You can see the crew access tower to the left at the launch pad. Of course, they were
The launch team recently received the final briefing from the 45th Space Wing's weather officer. The weather for today's liftoff is within the launch commit criteria.
So we're launching.
The probability of violating launch constraints is less than 10%. The ground winds are 10 knots out of the east-southeast, and the temperature is 81 degrees Fahrenheit. So the weather looks favorable, and we are proceeding towards a planned T0 of 12:13 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
T0 liftoff time. See the GPS logo on the fairing. The crew access tower to the left of the launch vehicle is being built. It's in the process of being built to allow crew to get up to the
ULA is using the Atlas V
CST-100
401 configuration to launch GPS-IIF. This is the 59th Atlas V Evolved Expendable Launch Vehicle flight since the inaugural launch in 2002, the 29th flight of the 401, and ULA's 102nd mission. A number of important milestones took place leading up to launch.
That takes
The Atlas V launch vehicle is produced in Decatur, Alabama, and Harlingen, Texas. It is comprised of a Common Core booster powered by the NPO Energomash RD-180 main engine and a Centaur upper stage powered by the Aerojet Rocketdyne RL-10C. The GPS-IIF satellite is protected during ascent by a 4-meter diameter payload fairing. The Atlas V booster arrived at Cape Canaveral on October 6th. The booster was erected on its mobile launch platform inside the Vertical Integration Facility on October 12th. 4 days later, the GPS-IIF satellite was encapsulated inside the 4-meter payload fairing. Then, on October 21st, the encapsulated payload fairing was transported to the Vertical Integration Facility and mated to the Atlas V rocket. The fully integrated Atlas V on its mobile launch platform was rolled to the pad at Space Launch Complex 41. Trackmobiles are used to transport the Atlas V and its mobile launch platform to the launch pad. It's a quarter-mile trip that takes about 30 minutes to complete. Once the mobile launch platform reaches its park position at the pad, the team conducts final securing. Following pad clear, at about 4 hours before launch, the Atlas V is fueled and configured for launch. The Atlas V rocket stands 189 feet tall, or about 19 stories, and weighs more than 700,000 pounds fully fueled. To lift the Atlas V away from the pad, approximately 860,000 pounds of thrust is produced by the RD-180 engine.
So you can see the booster attachment points around the edges of the Atlas CCB. I think that's what it was. It's so confusing with DATS 4, which has this is a common core booster, or I believe so. DATS 4 I think has a common booster core. So it's confusing.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. The GPS-IIF vehicles are part of the 4 generations of operational vehicles on orbit, with a total of 31 operational satellites, the largest constellation in the Department of Defense, as well as the most robust and capable system in the history of space.
Yay!
From their vantage point in semi-synchronous circular orbit, the GPS-IIF satellites will provide improved accuracy through better clocks and a longer design life. Here's a video detailing GPS-IIF-11's trip to orbit.
The following profile details the important events of this mission using approximate times.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And liftoff of the Atlas V rocket.
The Atlas RD-180 main engine ignites to lift the vehicle away from the pad. Shortly after liftoff, Atlas begins its initial pitch, yaw, and roll maneuvers to attain the proper ascent profile and minimize aerodynamic loads. The Atlas V reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound, at 78 seconds. At 90 seconds, the vehicle experiences maximum dynamic pressure.
Or max Q.
Approaching booster engine cutoff, the Atlas V is burning propellant at the rate of 1,600 pounds per second, traveling at approximately 16,000 miles per hour, and located 62 miles in altitude and 146 miles downrange. Booster engine cutoff occurs approximately 4 minutes after liftoff. 6 seconds after booster engine cutoff, the booster stage is jettisoned. The first Centaur main engine start takes place 10 seconds after booster separation. The payload fairing is jettisoned approximately 4.5 minutes into the flight. Cutoff of the Centaur main engine follows an approximately 13-minute burn. The mission now enters a 3-hour coast phase. At 3 hours 17 minutes into the flight, the Centaur main engine is started for a second and final burn. This burn will last approximately 1.5 minutes. Following the second Centaur main engine cutoff, the mission enters a final 5-minute coast phase. At 3 hours 23 minutes, Centaur releases the GPS satellite for the United States Air Force.
And performs an avoidance maneuver, putting into graveyard orbit, I believe. Up for the other launch commentator. At least he's constantly talking about something interesting. Unlike this guy who's silent most of the time. A little bit of experience he can become good, but
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. As I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, I'll be joined later by Air Force Captain Felix Abeda. Captain Abeda is part of the Air Force's newly formed Launch Systems Enterprise Directorate. Under the leadership of Dr. Claire Leon, the new directorate brings together the Launch and Range Systems Directorate and the Rocket Systems Launch Program. The Directorate manages the Evolved Expendable Launch Vehicle Program for the Air Force. EELV was designed to increase reliability and reduce launch costs by at least 25% over Heritage Atlas, Delta, and Titan space launch systems. The EELV program was initiated in 1994 and continues today with launch capability provided by the Delta IV and Atlas V launch vehicles and their associated launch sites. We'll hear more about the new directorate later in the broadcast.
FCO, RCO, and OSM hold fire switches are in the proceed position.
Ready to proceed.
Perform launch on time verification.
Roger.
anyway, that crew tower there is for the CST-100 Starliner, because Boeing just has to do that. Why is there a boat there? Boat. Get off. Out of there. We might lose have the line scrubbed because of you. Yeah, anybody remember Antares? Yep.
RC, verify acceleration acceptable for launch.
Verified.
Cover view.
LC, flight control, launch on time, verified.
Roger. LC switch to ready position. All steps complete prior to the status check.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. In a few moments, launch conductor Ed Kidda will poll the team for the final go to pick up the countdown. 27 engineers and managers will be polled for system status and readiness to proceed. This is the final status check before launch for all Atlas vehicle systems, ground systems, the spacecraft, and the U.S. Air Force Eastern Range. The readiness poll includes hydraulics, pad water deluge system, electrical systems, pneumatics, propulsion systems, flight control, and propellants. Let's listen in as launch conductor Ed Kidda performs the final polling of the team.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. Atlas systems propulsion. Go. Hydraulics. Go. Pneumatics. Go. LO2. Go. Water. Go. Centaur systems propulsion.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
Has gas.
Go.
Electrical systems airborne.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Facility.
Go.
RFFTS. Go. Flight control.
Go.
Instrumentation.
Go.
Com.
Go.
Timer.
Go.
GC cube.
Go.
Umbilicals.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
Redline monitor.
Go.
Quality.
Go.
Ops safety manager.
Go.
ULA safety officer.
Go.
Vehicle system engineer. Go. Anomaly chief.
AC is go.
Range coordinator.
Cleared to proceed.
LD. Launch director.
The launch vehicle is ready to launch.
Mission director.
You have permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count. T0 is planned for 1613 Zulu. Set count to start at 1609 Zulu.
Polling is complete, and the team is given the go for launch. The countdown will resume in approximately 2 minutes. From T-minus 4 minutes until launch, you will be listening to launch conductor Ed Kidda and his team performing the final steps in the countdown procedure. You'll hear the team confirm securing of Atlas liquid oxygen topping, followed by the call to transfer the Atlas and Centaur stages from ground facility power to internal battery power. At T-minus 1 minute 55 seconds, the team will command the launch sequencer to start, followed shortly by the securing of the Centaur liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen topping activity. At T-minus 1 minute 40 seconds, the team will command the flight control system to launch enable and arm the flight termination system. In the final minute, the Atlas tanks will be verified at flight pressures, followed with verification of the Centaur tank pressures. A final status check of the Atlas Centaur and GPS-IIF readiness is conducted at T-minus 25 seconds. Seconds before liftoff, the RD-180 engine ignites and performs a health check before lifting the vehicle off the pad. After liftoff, you'll hear the voice of Marty Melanowski providing launch vehicle ascent data.
Lövik?
En 4 perc gubbe. Még több.
Múlva Lövik.
És azután még 20 perc.
Mit csinálnak vele ennyi?
We anticipate releasing the hold in just a few moments.
Körbeírja. Levágják a
We're 4 minutes and counting.
2, 1,
Four.
mark. T-minus 4 minutes and counting.
Kevin, becsuknád az ajtót, légy
3:55.
Kösz.
The countdown clock has resumed, and we are proceeding towards a 12:13 p.m. Eastern liftoff.
Sorry, I just got the shivers. Also, it's Halloween. I'm not dressing up. Never did. Never will. Right, I'm okay. Is that kind of like a bunker to the... Okay, you can't see it. Also, what's confusing is like, is there a lightning rod on top of that thing? But I realized, no, it's just one of the lightning rods above the...
3 minutes.
Securing LO2 topping.
Atlas tanks to flight pressure.
Okay, you can see the LO2.
FPS internal.
You can see LO2 boil off is stopped, basically.
T-minus 2 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. Once the rocket lifts off, it will only take about 78 seconds to reach Mach 1 or the speed of sound.
Because these are speedy buggers. T-minus 2 minutes until liftoff, basically. Or 2 minutes 15 seconds. 2 minutes and 10 seconds. T-minus 2 minutes.
1:59.
Vehicle internal.
1:55.
Launch
Yeah.
sequencer start.
1:50.
Oh, this is on internal power, basically.
Securing Centaur LH2.
I used to use liquid hydrogen, by
Centaur
the way.
locked.
1:40.
Launch enable. FTS armed.
T-minus 1 minute, 28 seconds and counting. The launch vehicle, payload, ground systems, and eastern range are go for launch.
We're go for launch.
Orca's armed.
FCS count started.
1:10.
Vent valves locked.
T-minus 1
T-minus
minute.
1 minute.
Rock, report range status.
Range green.
Next, that means there's no boat in the way like there was for Antares.
40.
40 seconds.
Stable at step 3.
You can see the water deluge system's starting to kick in.
T-minus 30 seconds.
T-minus 30 seconds until the main engine ignition and liftoff.
25.
25
Status
seconds.
check.
Go Atlas.
Go Centaur. Go GPS.
20.
All systems that go for launch.
15.
T minus 10, 9,
9,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have RD-180 ignition, and we have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket carrying the 11th GPS-IIF satellite of the United States Air Force. The Global Positioning System provides worldwide positioning, navigation, and timing service for military and civilian users.
Don't you love the sound of an RD-180 in the afternoon? All those Russian engines, though. Also note, that is a single engine.
Pitch program's complete. Flight rates resumed normal operation. Pump speeds, injector pressures look good on the RD-180.
So now this vehicle going supersonic or something.
You are hearing the voice of Marty Malinowski providing launch vehicle ascent data.
Oh yeah, that was vehicle going supersonic. See the shotgun there. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Mach 1. Vehicle bodies are controlling down the middle. Booster engine performance continues to be nominal. Flight track shows the vehicle right down the middle corridor. We have passed max dynamic pressure. Booster has throttled down right on time.
They throttle down so the LV does not break apart due to high aerodynamic stresses. For those of you who did not know
And
that.
we've begun flying Q Alpha limited steering. Body rates continue to look good. Booster engine performance is good.
So next year there will be a launch of an Atlas V 411. Yes, that is indeed a thing.
Closed loop steering has been enabled, as well as a roll bias for pointing of telemetry. Booster engine performance continues to look very good. RCS pyro valve has been fired. System's now pressurizing to flight level. Signatures look good. Currently accelerating at 3 Gs. Booster engine continues to look very good.
Okay. I thought it looks like the booster's flamed out,
Current
but it's not.
altitude is 32 miles. Downrange distance 50 miles. Current velocity 5,005 miles per hour.
No, it uses miles per hour. Miles an hour.
Coming up on our next booster throttle segment.
So we're going to throttle up. That's my
The
guess.
booster has throttled down. Engine response looks
Oh,
good.
never mind, it's throttling down.
Body rates continue to look good as we accelerate at 4 Gs.
4 Gs of it.
Range track.
They're launching
shows the
people on
vehicle
this?
down the middle of the corridor.
They are launching people on it. They will launch people on this. Okay.
And we've begun flying our 5G throttle segment. Boost phase cooldown is underway.
I believe we are approaching
And begun
Pico.
throttle to 4.6 Gs in preparation for Pico. Boost phase chill down is complete. And we have Pico. Engine shutdown looks good. We have retros and stage separation. Looks like a clean sep. Locks and fuel pre-start. GN2 purge firing and the RCS is underway. We have ignition and full thrust on the RL-10.
You can't really see any flames out of the
And we have
RL-10.
payload fairing jettison. Looks like a good separation of payload fairing.
We don't see the PLF. There it is. PLF, payload fairing.
Centaur closed loop steering is underway.
Well, I love seeing those engines gimbal. I don't know why, I just do. It just looks so spectacular.
And Centaur Pew has gone to closed loop control.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T plus 5 minutes and counting. We've just heard Marty Malinowski report the successful execution of events comprising the early part of today's mission, and all systems continue to operate nominally. The mission is currently in the first of 2 Centaur engine burns. Our next event, Centaur main engine cutoff, will occur in approximately 12 minutes. I am joined now by Air Force Captain Felix Abeda from the Space and Missile Systems Center's Launch Systems Enterprise Directorate. Captain, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks, Mike. It's an honor to be here with you today.
First off, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado, where I attended the United States Air Force Academy and graduated in 2010. My first duty assignment was to Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, and as you mentioned earlier, I'm now at Los Angeles, where I'm a Government Mission Integration Manager, or GMIM for short.
Can you describe a little bit about what a GMIN is and what they do?
Yeah, so as a GMIM, I'm the lead integrator between the space vehicle and the launch vehicle. It's our job to ensure that all technical and programmatic requirements are met, and that the team stays on schedule to meet the required launch date.
Now, as I understand it, you were also the GMIM for the successful October 8th launch of NROL-55 from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, also on an Atlas V. Can you describe that experience and how it compares with today's launch?
Yeah, so there are definitely some differences and similarities between both coasts. One of the major differences is the way that the vehicle is processed and the way it's transported. But otherwise, the team has done a great job of keeping the on-console operations pretty similar and streamlined. So once you sit down, it doesn't matter what coast you're on.
So what are some of the key challenges that you and your team worked through for a launch?
Well, as I'm sure you and everyone else is aware of, a rocket is a very technical piece of hardware. Our engineers have to know and understand each of those individual components and be able to certify that equipment and give faith to our leadership that the equipment that's on the pad is going to be able to launch and meet the required launch requirements.
So can you describe the milestones and decision-making timetable in preparing for today's launch, and how are things going in preparing for the GPS-IIF launch next year?
Yeah, so in LE we start standard integration 24 months before the launch, and within that time frame we've completed one integrated crew exercise with simulated anomalies where the team has to test themselves and make sure they're good for anything that might pop up, a mission dress rehearsal, day launch working groups, and various technical meetings along the way. We're scheduled for a 3 February ILC for GPS-IIF, and we're on track to meet that date.
So what would you say has been the most surprising thing in your job so far?
Definitely how big and diverse the team is that gets us to a launch date like this. It's a team consisting of civilians, contractors, and government personnel spread out across the entire nation, and everyone has a hand in getting us here.
Well, thank you so much for sharing the amazing work being done by the Launch Systems Enterprise Directorate. We'll talk a little bit more later, but now let's take a look at a video highlighting the results of all the team's efforts.
The Global Positioning System is a marvel of the modern age. It consists of more than 30 GPS satellites circling the globe over 12,000 miles above us. In tightly controlled orbits, these U.S. Air Force satellites continuously transmit their signals to Earth. An extraordinary technology, GPS enables anyone with a GPS receiver to determine the precise location and the exact time anywhere in the world, usually within a meter and within a billionth of a second.
GPS is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. It's in our cars. It's in devices that you use to determine how far you've run or ridden your bicycle.
With billions of users and countless devices, it is easy to take GPS for granted. But it is the essential platform for innovations which enables us to do everyday things like buying gas at the pump and getting directions. And amazing things like tracking ice melts and saving lives in ways that were formerly impossible.
The beauty of the GPS system is that it's available for everyone. The cost of entry for any user is simply the cost of their receiver.
Boeing helped make GPS possible. It's been the U.S. Air Force on 4 major programs, replacing the initial group of satellites as their service lives were completed. Overall, Boeing has produced 2/3 of all GPS satellites, more than 40 in all.
Satellites are normally built in a low volume, perhaps 2 or 3 at most, and they're usually sit in one spot, and resources are brought to the satellite.
Now, to ensure that GPS is available whenever it's needed, Boeing has changed how satellites are made. It's producing 12 new GPS satellites using a streamlined process based on its efficient and advanced airplane assembly line techniques.
Our goal is to have the highest quality.
These new satellites bring next-generation performance to the GPS constellation we all use every day. As a result, they are delivering new levels of accuracy to what is already a remarkably accurate system, and they are being built in a much more efficient way, ensuring that this essential technology is available when we need it.
With live telemetry. It's experiencing 30.6 feet per second squared. Acceleration.
And having some data quality issues, but data has resumed. All looks good. RL-10 continues to perform well. PU controlling near nominal at this point in the burn.
So what's stealth 4 mean? Also, December 3rd, Atlas 5 plus Cygnus.
This is Atlas Mission Control, MT plus 10 minutes, 56 seconds into the GPS-IIF mission, and all systems continue to operate as expected. The Atlas Centaur second stage and GPS satellite are currently located over the North Atlantic Ocean, southeast of Greenland. Our next event, the first Centaur main engine cutoff, or MECA-1, is scheduled to take place in about 6 minutes. Here's Marty Malinowski.
1,692 miles, current velocity 14,513 miles per hour.
Well, we're voluntarily in space. I believe that's the New York area down there, but I'm not too good with US geography. Mostly geology, but that's a different thing. So it's the 700 whatever, just the mission time, mission elapsed time since liftoff.
5 minutes remain in this 12-minute,
Burn.
32-second burn. All systems continue to look very good. PU controlling at nominal. Tank pressures are stable. Body rates 0.
Forming a nose down maneuver, I don't know why they usually do that. Well, maybe it's to raise the perigee. I don't know, I'm guessing at this stage. Of course, there's a 2 to 4 second delay just for some reason of time.
4 minutes remain in this burn. All systems continue to look good. RL-10 performance is as expected for the ZMR.
It's nominal, basically.
RCS line temperatures look good.
RCS
Continue
control
to see
system.
our normal thermal conditioning firings.
No,
Tank
overheat.
pressures, storage bottles, and batteries are all stable as well.
Nothing going wrong, basically. Oh, wait, hold on. Was that a drop of... That's the last quality I have. There we go. So this is basically ULA's fault. Damn you, ULA! SpaceX is better webcast. I'll be watching ULA and SpaceX launches. Well, there's lag. Can't tell if it's... Really? Alright. I have good internet, so...
And we have IAP vanish. Centaur is now orbital at an altitude of 204 miles, downrange distance of 2,593 miles. Current velocity 17,647 miles per hour.
Yep, you can see the perigee altitude increasing. It's 30 nautical miles now. The apogee altitude is 700. Almost, it's 800 nautical miles now. We're 14 minutes into flight. 14 minutes 37 seconds, but...
RL-10 continues to look good. PU controlling air nominal. Tank pressures are stable.
But 2 minutes away from Centaur engine, from main engine shutdown 1. Of course, we won't be able to watch the second main engine shutdown
2
because
minutes
that's
to
in
MECO.
3 hours.
All systems look good.
Also, hey, hey, could you get, I'm back on. At least I give it something to look at. We just flew over Newfoundland, yeah, that's where the Titanic sank. Not far from it. Also, for those of you who don't know, SpaceX is developing a new version of the Falcon 9, the Falcon 9 V1.2, which allows it even launches to geosynchronous orbit to return. It enables booster flyback. And I'm pretty sure Falcon 9 V1.1 will still fly for LEO missions like Dragon. Well, not Nichols Dragon launcher anyway. Presumably that will take up the...
Our next event, the first Centaur main engine cutoff, is scheduled to take place in about 1 minute. Here's Marty Malinowski.
He's silent. I picked the worst time to say that, my friend. I'll for the other guy. Just personally, but... Because I know this is probably not easy. Perigee altitude is going down. Get to work on that.
Approximately 30 seconds left in this burn. RL-10 continues to perform well. All systems look good.
Okay, we're at 8 minutes. It's basically 12 seconds. Two seconds.
Now we have MECO. Engine shutdown looks good. We have 4 S-17 motors on. We have begun our turn to our PTC attitude, as well as begun our spin up to our PTC roll rate of
Basically
1 degree per second.
Barbecue rolls.
Fuel tanks have been vented down and are currently stable. Bus and battery voltages look good.
Well, so basically GPS is in orbit, it's not.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T plus 17 minutes, 44 seconds. Marty Malinowski just confirmed MECO 1, or cutoff of the Centaur RL-10C engine. The mission has now entered an extended coast phase, which will last approximately 3 hours. Following MECO 1, the mission trajectory changes to a southeasterly heading, flying over Eastern Europe, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia. It will continue in a south-southeasterly direction over the Indian Ocean. Following a short second burn of RL-10C engine, Centaur will deliver the GPS-IIF satellite to semi-synchronous orbit over the southern Indian Ocean, south of Australia. Separation will take place in about 3 hours and 23 minutes after liftoff. Because of the long duration of today's mission, we'll end our broadcast shortly. However, before we leave, Captain Abeda, I wanted to ask you about some of the recent changes to your director at the cast. Can you share what your new mission and vision is?
Yes, so the Launch Systems Enterprise Directorate was stood up on 14 October. Our mission is to be the guardians of assured access to space, launching when and where the nation needs us. Our vision is to be the most respected and innovative space lift team, delivering mission success while enabling a robust U.S. launch industry. As part of the rollout, we also gained a new shield that you showed earlier that I'd like to describe in a little more detail. The design features a dragon, which is the launch directorate's mascot. The bullseye symbolizes delivering the spacecraft into the perfect orbit. The 4 stars symbolize the 4 types of rocket configurations, and one of the stars represents the star featured in the California state flag, and the other is the Zia Sun, representing the state of New Mexico, which is the home state of the two directorates that form the LE Directorate. The single deltoid symbol symbolizes the launch vehicle. The Latin phrase at the bottom means, through boldness to the stars.
Interesting. Where do you see yourself in the next couple of years?
Well, I won't find out my next assignment for another 2 to 3 years, but I'm really excited about all the different opportunities the Air Force has to offer.
Well, Captain, thanks so much for sharing the amazing work being done by your team.
Thanks, Mike. It was an honor to be here with you today.
We'll conclude our live broadcast with a final look at this morning's liftoff, which occurred at 12:17 p.m. Eastern Time. Please visit ulalaunch.com or join the conversation on Twitter and Facebook for more information about the Atlas V. I'm Mike Underhill. On behalf of the entire launch team, thank you for joining us and have a great afternoon. 3, 2, 1. We have RD-180 ignition, and we have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket carrying the 11th GPS-IIF satellite for the United States Air Force. The Global Positioning System provides worldwide positioning, navigation, and timing service for military and civilian users.
Well done. I'm going to end the video here. I'm Boss 25. Goodbye.